interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Spread out and scatter.
Yo, you're getting tag teamed by Buck Wilde. You're listening to the Rum Bass podcast.
Welcome to the Rum Bass Show, where we will explore the world of electronic dance music, the culture, and the people behind it all.
Drink, music, culture.
Rum and Bass.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Rum Bass Show. I am your host, Freelix, but my friends call me Chris, and beside me is a very lovely co-host. She's at Steez.
What's going on?
That's Miss Carly as well, better known to her friends and us around here. Today we got a very special episode for you. We got a couple friends coming in. Well, they're actually here. We've been chatting it up, but we're going to get them on the show with us right now. We have with us Pete Wilde and Shane Buckley.
How's it going, guys?
Word up.
All right, together the infamous duo of Buck Wilde. Caught you guys at a couple festivals. It's where I caught wind of you guys, and yeah, really wanted to sit down, kind of see what's going on, and touch base. So yeah, how are you guys? How was your day today?
Very good day, yeah. It's a little bit cold out, but it's, worth coming all the way downtown.
We like the winter. We live in Canada. We love it.
I guess it's one of those, like, either get out if you don't like it, or...
Yeah,
Well,
buy a
that's
big
it,
jacket
right?
or get out.
The only time I really complain about the winter is about mid to late January. I can deal with it cold at the beginning, but then it gets a little redundant. By
Want to see less clothing.
It's a Chinook outside, you know?
Ooh.
We're one of the only places in the world that gets those, too.
Yeah, it's very very rare that I think there's one or two other places on the planet that get them, and they get them way less frequently than Calgary does as well.
Because, yeah, we'll see, like, 40-degree change difference. It'll be, like, minus 30, then up to 10, plus 10 the next day. Everybody's out with shorts on.
Actually, the first winter I moved to Canada, this is probably, I was like 15, 95-ish, maybe 96-ish. And the first winter I was here, I went to school, probably, 7:30 in the morning, came out at 11 for smoke break, and when I went in, minus 22. By 11 o'clock, it was plus 17.
What?
Yeah, and that's like 3 hours. I was like, what did I get myself in for? This is crazy. That's like 45-degree temperature change in 3 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty drastic overall. Like, because, yeah, we go from plus 30 in our summers to, like, minus 30. That's like a 60-degree change that we go through. So I guess the thick skin from the Canadians is what they say, right?
Or the
Moisturizer.
War of the worlds. So you guys snowboard, I guess? Is that...
I'm a skier, actually.
me,
Proud
skier
of it.
too. I can snowboard as well, but skier, I skied when I was young more than I snowboarded for sure. For sure. I like skiing.
Yeah, I'm more of a snowboarder myself, but I haven't been out for the last year.
Yeah, I didn't go once last season, but usually I go out to visit my sister who lives in Whistler, so at least once or twice a season I go out there for a week or so. Man, Whistler's a crazy mountain. It's so cool, but there's lots of tourists. It gets really busy as well, so you need to know the background.
What are you talking about? You are a tourist.
I'm a dual citizen now. They gave me a passport. I'm Canadian, boys.
I actually boarded since I was like 14, but I gave it up like 2 years ago before we went to Thailand there, and I just I went to Revelstoke as the last mountain, and that is insane. Like,
I haven't been there, actually. It's good.
the powder, I've never been in powder like that before. I actually got buried and like went through the trees and almost fell down in the pit underneath the tree and like got lost in the trees, and I was
there's
done
massive
after
snow
that.
wells. You can really hurt
But
yourself.
my favorite one's Fernie. I think maybe it's just a little nostalgia because
Yeah.
we used to have like a right at the bottom of the hill. I think I was like 5 or 6. I don't remember it, but they had a little hotel and it caught on fire and they rebuilt it with condos. And my uncle bought a condo, so we'd go there almost every weekend. And you just literally we'd go out his front door and just go to the quad and up. And I love that. Like, that's one of
That
the
is
best
good.
mountains. I think it's one of the best
Ski your
mountains.
front
for
door,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Ski in
amazing.
and out.
Yeah.
Like that.
If we could do that and if it could stay nice, if I could do that in the shorts and a t-shirt, that would be nice. I can't handle the cold, man.
Yeah, no.
I've
too
seen
much.
girls in their bikinis going up there,
That's insanity. Like, honestly, I could not imagine doing that. I don't care how good I look in that bikini.
The old saying is it's getting winter. All you women who wear skanky clothes need to get a personality. I guess that's not true for those ones, eh? That's like there's three things that don't get cold in the winter: polar bear, penguin, and a whore.
It's nature's way of culling the herd. Okay, well, basically, I guess what we want to know is where did we start here, guys? How'd you guys get into this?
Well, you know, to say the truth, me and Shane had been friends since, you know, like, what?
Grade 11?
98? Yeah, 98, 99-ish, but...
You graduated in 98. I
Yeah.
graduated in 99.
Yeah. And back then I used to throw a night in Calgary. It was called Rude Boy Rendezvous on Tuesday nights down at Sal's. And, you know, it was just absolutely jam-packed for years and years. But, you know, we didn't start it to be a crazy club night type thing. We actually just started it to be a bit of a jam type
You guys
thing.
never charged cover for the
Yeah,
whole
no,
time.
yeah, we didn't just, and it was one of those nights where, like, it's the only night I didn't put any effort into actually promoting it, and it was one of the biggest and longest running nights we ever did. But Shane used to come down, and this is when we were just kind of acquaintances still, and he used to look out for the night, you know, like he'd be there every week, bouncing his head, smile on his face, and, you know, eventually it was just one of those, by the time we actually struck up a full conversation, it was just, I felt like I knew him, like, really well already. It's just because, you know, we're at the same places all the time, love the same tunes. And
Well, we had all those run-ins from high school. You going to school with Mike Mills and me being one of his best friends.
oh yeah, but high school was a bit of a
Gone show.
weed-induced blur for me.
So you guys were your friends before musicians?
yeah,
then?
yeah.
For
For like
well,
10 years.
acquaintances and then friends and then started working together.
Okay, so Pete, when did you start? Like, did you play an instrument before you got into this? Like, what's your musical background?
Yeah, I play a bit of bass guitar, and both my big brothers are really, really good guitarists, like six-string guitarists. And I grew up around a lot of musicians as well as like electronic artists, because my oldest brother Matt he used to be a techno producer, like tribal London techno. Had 7 record labels, worked with some really big guys, yeah. And like, I mean, I was raised around DJing and electronic since I was probably, you know, 4 or 5 years, since I can remember, really.
Okay.
But you know, at the same time too, they still play guitars, man. You know, like old school Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Before they got famous, yeah.
So it's not just all EDM then? It's...
No, not at all. I love instrumentation and a lot of the production stuff I do. I love working with, you know, anyone who plays anything, really. It doesn't need to, it could be just like finger drumming if they want to. But
Just that organic feel.
yeah, just and bring some music back into electronic music, you know.
So that's why I noticed your style. You've got that kind of funky feel to it. Then.
Yeah.
So that's probably where that resonates from. Eh?
Yeah, no, definitely, and it's you know, I think the classic song structure that comes from, you know, the history of music, you know, choruses and verses and bridges, you know, not just breakdowns, build-ups, drops. As you know, I think a lot of electronic music went in that direction. Every single song is intro, you know, first breakdown,
It's got that
build
formula.
up, first drop, but it doesn't need to be that way. You know, you can. I really do love bridges in my songs. You know, the part of the song towards the end that makes it worth playing all the way through because it's unique.
Yeah.
I used to love singing on bridges.
It's in the shower going away, or like on actual physical road construction bridges.
No.
It's like out in the rain, singing on the
I
bridge.
just remember the bridge and songs, like, I just sounded good the way I said it, but
I got it.
yeah, it's fun.
Okay, Shane.
Me?
Yeah, how'd you get started into this wild world of electronic music?
Oh, I think I kind of fell ass backwards into it. No. I was always like, well, I mean, I've known you for quite a while, Chris, but one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is I'm one of the biggest hip-hop heads you'll ever meet.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I didn't
like
know.
No.
And that's kind of where my style of that, like, kind of 70s funk with all the hip-hop remixes and stuff come into play. But I was super hip hop head from about like my first CD I bought. I was 10, and it was what is it? Warren G. Regulated. Yeah. And, you know, when you had your own money, I was like 10. I was like, I'm gonna go buy it, and I went and bought that, and then I just got super into hip hop, and then like it was Around the World Homework. Daft Punk.
Daft Punk. I went 96. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I heard that, I was just like, hey, wait a minute.
Sold.
Why can't the two be combined? And then I just, I decided to get knee deep into it and start figuring out all the electronic stuff, and still kept with my hip hop stuff. And then I figured I was about 99, right after I got out of high school, graduated. I figured I'm sick of just finding and searching. I want to like kind of play it and see what happens. So started
evolution into
DJing,
it
and
kind
then
of
just
thing,
kind
yeah.
of went from there, right? So yeah, that's kind of how that went.
I did not know that you were into hip hop. Well, it's cool because you actually see a lot of that crossover coming now. You know, I think that's one of the beautiful things about music is there is no like there's boundaries and there's form, but they're always going to be broken and crossed, and that's like half the fun of the game. You know?
Yeah,
Like-
and especially when someone's doing, you know, like mixing genres, but you wouldn't think in general that those two things would go so well together, because very often they'll butt heads. But I mean, if you can get something in the same song that sounds so, you know, I mean, like you said, hip hop and say, I don't know, funk, that would go together. You could see that would go together. But sometimes you got like kind of, you know, the liquid drumming bassy thing, and then all of a sudden techno, you know, and they just like oxymoron themselves in a good way as opposed to butting heads.
It's that contrast,
Yeah.
right? That and I find that's one of the most powerful things in music, especially you find that a lot with electronic music, is that contrast. You know, you get that nice steady build up, then boom, drops something completely different. And
TSN turning point.
yeah, like I remember like back like, you know, late 90s, early 2000, you know, Electro House, when that started coming out, like Chris Lake and Dirty South and all that. And it was, you know, like aggressive, progressive almost. You know, there wasn't so much cuts to it. It was just like this long rolling melody.
Yeah.
And I see
And,
the...
and that nice bass line from that era. And then when Electro House got really popular, that lost that bass line, that crunchy.
It's almost
Right?
like it's like Electro House started doing meth, and it just like out, you know, over a while it just started gritting out and cutting out, and you
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
there's still that essence melody to it, but it's just so much. And I'm a fan of Complextro and that whole style. You know, I
Yeah.
love the intricacies of writing that, and even
Yeah.
you know, it's one of the most entertaining styles, but it's doesn't pay homage to what it used to be, you know, and like I miss those. You know, I'm not finding that kind of style of music anymore, really.
No.
No, I think you're right too. I mean, with a lot of how powerful software, soft synth, and you know, I mean, like programs like Ableton and the amount of quality, you know, powerful software you can get for very cheap, if not like, you know, people can just rip it and stuff. The thing is, I mean, there's a lot of people who will take, like you said, like say a complex sound, excuse me, and then, and then a bunch of other people, you know, basically will write kind of plugins or whatever to emulate that sound, but then all of a sudden you've just got, you know, layers of arpeggiator that sound good, but it's kind of feels like it's been done like.
Well, that's where they start touching base on the loudness wars, like they call it, you know, where everything's starting to lose that actual that depth, you know, that acoustic range to the songs. You know, it's all just like ba 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 ba, and you know, you're losing like that faint little like ting in the background. You know, you don't really get that, and, you know, unless they use that one sample to add that contrast to this whole fucking song. That's ba 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 ba.
And they're getting like fullness in sound out of, you know, kind of like echoing hi-hats and things like that, as opposed to, you know, kind of like panning shit properly. Or sometimes like the most full sounding song can be when it just drops out and it's so simple, like that part where it's just like I said, it's just the drums, just the bass line, so like maybe one other little scratch sound, and that's the part that's like genius, although it's so
Yeah.
simple.
I think that's why trap caught on too, because like it almost was the breaking point. Like I'm not a big trap fan myself, right? But it seemed like everybody was just trying to outdo each other, and you'll get
Out-trap
that.
each other.
Well, no, not even. It was like leading up to that though,
Yeah.
because like everything was like banging, Complextro, just, you know,
Yeah.
really gritty music, and then trap came around. It was just simple. You know, it was like almost like it needed to happen in
I
order.
like the clean sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing
And the
about trap.
syncopated hi-hats,
Here's the thing
like,
about
just-
trap, right? Is if you take like early '90s, maybe mid '90s, there's like the East Coast, West Coast hip hop war, right? And there's like who's better, and it's whoever has the freshest sound. But down in like Atlanta and ATL and stuff, they were doing this stuff, and like they were doing these breakdowns, like it's very simple beats, but most of the breakdowns were a lot of that old stuff and underground stuff. A lot of it, the breakdowns were, and the best break of the track, a lot of it was that trap sound. So that trap actually came from that.
Okay.
And someone decided that simple like that, someone decided to take that and make a track. and the
Just
trap was
caught
never
on,
made
eh?
for that. Well, it did, but the trap's never caught on and it left right away because trap is never made for that, right? It should be an element, right?
Like without trap, would there be twerking though? Yeah, so like something good
Dude.
did happen.
Come on. Twerking's been around
That's genius,
forever.
Chris.
In my day, we used to call that backing that shit up. So I mean, it's the same shit.
Yeah, you may be onto something there, Chris.
The new generation
good.
spin on back that thing up, right? Okay.
We found walking around at nightclubs and just within earshot of girls on the dance floor saying, I actually don't even really know what twerking is. Like, what someone should show us what twerking is. Anyone within ear range of that who likes to twerk will start twerking right in front of you. So of course I know what twerking is. But I just want to watch this. The 3 people. This is twerking. Bang, 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 bang. It's sweet. It was that easy. Yeah.
What about you? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm really busy, obviously, with the Rum Bass thing. Me and Carly and Max as well. We got going on. Lots of things coming
There's
here.
a little side, little Tim bit about Mr. Friedlichs here. If no one knows, it's he's you've been around forever.
Yeah,
And your styles of
in and
music,
out.
of where you've been and where you've come from and what you're doing now, is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Just throw the compliment out there.
Thank you. But this is not about me, gentlemen.
No, it's not, but you gotta give those compliments.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to ask, what kind of work goes into your sets? We were talking about edits earlier.
It really does depend. Like we kind of like during festival season, we are kind of traveling, doing the bigger festivals on 4 decks, like 2x4. So like really going into that festival season, we hunt, like hard target hunt, you know, like new kind of what we think could possibly turn into just a humongous song that neither of us have had yet, and we just play them for each other, like all the way through, like, you know, challenge each other to check this fucking shit out. And then all of a sudden it's just like, wow, I gotta up my search quotient type thing. But during the winter we really like doing studio re-edit sets, you know, where a lot of it's on Ableton, but really once we have all of our kind of the flow of the whole mix ready to go, we just actually DJ the sets, but like, you know, straight out of Ableton. Once we've made an Ableton mix, they're all re-edited the way we want them, and then then we record it live.
The thing about me and Pete is we've it's been about 2008 or we've done Buck Wild, but we've been playing house parties or different raves or different things together since probably about 2001. And we've always had that kind of like not same style, because I mean, if you do Pete stuff on his own is way different than Shane's stuff on their own, but when we come together, like we have this vibe, and I don't know if I could do it with anyone else.
Yeah,
It clicked. But that's what a lot of it is, right? It's like it's a lot of showing each other music to practice for those. But at any given set in a festival, I mean, he throws. It doesn't matter what he showed me to get ready for it. He throws a million things in there that
Just in the moment.
You got to react to it,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of a cool little. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I could do it with anyone else. Like, you know, it just seemed to click, and we've just kind of been doing it ever since.
I think from like, you know, us being friends for so long before we, like, you know, actually got serious about doing the actual, you know, 2x4 ideas and stuff like that, we already knew how to read each other's like facial cues. Like while we're playing, we very rarely say like 2 or 3 words the whole set to each other, but like we can look at each other if we want, if we, you know, like whatever, and it's just we know immediately what they're getting at type thing, and I can tell by you know, if he's got something coming in next, you know, like he's got a really good idea type thing. I'll just look over and he's got, like, I'm just like, okay, yeah, you take it, run with it type thing. But yeah, I think that came from the friendship, because we jam on stage like we do when we're alone at an after party in a basement. Everyone else has gone to bed. We're both like hugging it out and this and that. Like,
Showing each other what's
we've
up.
actually had people come up to us after at bigger festival sets, and you know, and they're actually, I kind of actually ask, I just gotta ask, are you guys actually having that much fun up there, or is that like part of the show or something?
Oh,
I'm just
wow.
like, really? Because yeah, we have that much fun alone in Scott Mills's basement.
We're always hugging. It was like well, Moto this year I think we had 2 hours set and we got about 45 minutes in, and a friend of mine was laughing. She was just like, I can't believe. She's like, that was the sweetest thing. We were about half hour in. Like I like to let Pete. He's really good at controlling the crowd, so I kind of like letting him do that, and I try to kind of mix into him. But we had like at one point we had like 4 records going. I had a sample on the record, and he was mixing, and I just like looked at him, and it was like star wipe, just big hug, just like big. We just embraced each other for like 30 seconds, right? It's just stuff like that, right? Like it's. Friends,
oh yeah,
friends
we're
first.
mixing.
Yeah, friends first.
Oh yeah, we're on
you
stage
know?
at Motion Notion, back to work.
It's a friendship before anything, right? Any good partnership starts with that. So.
Well, for many years after Shane like had been collecting records, had his this unbelievable breakbeat collection that I ran into, years after we had known each other, I ended up at his place, and he had never really talked about like how extensive his breaks collection was, because back in the day, I used to do a lot of ordering for like kind of the breakbeat stores around Calgary, and I went into his studio one time, and he just had this. I'm looking through, and a lot of them are like harder to find white label type breakbeats, and I was just like, man, like I'm impressed, because it took me forever to find 2 copies of that to put in the store, and I have one of them. So like,
It's funny though.
yeah, and I just told him, like, back then he had a career, and he was like kind of doing it for himself, and wasn't really interested in getting gigs like out there, and it just wasn't like time for him yet in his own head. I just said, if you ever decide to start wanting to play for the crowds, please just call me first, because like it's just breakbeats back in the day used to be a labor of love for me, but it was a hard road to go, because a lot of people loved it, but very few people could get a hold of any with very many of the UK kind of records that sell out before they even got to Eastern Canada. And the record stores, the further they come west, the collection comes back in the vinyl days.
Here's a funny little story I'm going to tell you, and I've never told you this, and I'm going to like let it out here.
On air, everybody.
So when you were doing all those orders for, the record stores here, and I purposely would not come to you to do it, and then I would go up to Foosh and have sweets and Rob do my orders, who are 2 of your best friends, and I would do that because I was just always like wanted to kind of, I'm like, one day he's just gonna come see my collection, one day we're gonna like start this, and that's what I was doing, because I didn't want you to know what I was grabbing. Yeah, I would still come buy records from you, but there's the hard target ones. I'd kind of go up there, and that was exactly it. It's always it's a friendly competition, I guess. I've always had.
Actually, me and Trevor Spilt Milk, who used to do the ordering for Foosh in Edmonton at the time, we used to play each other records over the phone and then COD them to each other from the record store. And like if the record store found out we were cash on delivery to anyone, like we'd get in a bunch of trouble. But like when you find a really good one, if I ever see his number, when I pick up the phone, I'm just like, oh, he's got a good tune type thing. He's just got the phone held up to the speaker, and it's just like, oh man, that is dope. Send it to me type thing. One record, including delivery, is like $35 type thing. It's just like, I don't care. I had 10 seconds of it over the phone, and just send it to me.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so aside from Buck Wild, you guys got some side projects going on, obviously, because it seems like you guys only meet up when you're at festivals, is like kind of the thing.
Yeah.
It's like you're mostly.
Well, especially at first, we kind of, we wanted Buck Wild to be more of, a bit of a build-up for our sets, and kind of like do bigger festivals and stuff like that. And then when we come back to Calgary, like the Buck Wild thing was getting a lot of attention at first, and when we came back to Calgary after festival season, a lot of people were asking us to do Buck Wild sets. I mean, of course, we were enjoying it type thing, but the thing is, locally, we don't want to play every time we play together in Calgary as Buck Wild. We want it to be a bit of like a, people have to wait for a Buck Wild set. It's just not just every time we play together, now it's Buck Wild type thing.
Even we're playing at the same night now, we just separate the hours and build
yeah.
this big, delicious Pete Wild.
Yeah. but you know, I mean, we love playing together so much that like that's cool. But like it really was supposed to be more of a show, you know, like a.
Okay, so what's been your favorite gig so far?
That's. We
You
might have to
know,
come back to that one. Give me 10 minutes and I
you
can make
know,
the top three.
it's hard to say. I definitely have. I mean, every festival we play is something on its own level and it's cool in its own way. But I would have to say, and Pete, my favorite gig, especially with us, was that Circus. Was it Circus de Nuit?
Cirque de Nuit.
Yeah, when we played from the old.
It's at Dickens, and a friend of ours,
Who was
like
the violinist? She used to
Jay,
play
he
in.
goes by Bass Caravan now. He used to go by Jay Bird, and he used to like own a clothing store in Calgary. He used to do
Evolve.
all of the flyer designs in Calgary. Like, you know, like he was a jack of all trades, and now
Yeah.
he's throwing 1 or 2 shows a year called Cirque de la Nuit, and it's like a night circus theme, and everyone's, you know, kind of. He flies in contortionists from Russia
from all over the
and
world, like
tightrope
different
walkers over the
circus,
crowd, and like the amount of work that goes into each show, it's
Ridiculous.
absolutely
It
amazing.
literally
like,
takes them 6 to 8 months to make everything, build everything, bring in the actual like sword swallowers sitting there on the side, and but that one was, and then the reason why it was one of my favorite shows is we played last, me and you, and I don't know, man. I wish it was recorded, but it was that was as much as in sync as me and you've ever been. That was about as in sync as we've ever been, and it had that old school crowd, so we got to play all those old school like.
yeah, it was an older crowd. A lot of the old school ravers who like they've got kids and careers now. They don't go out very often, but you know,
Playing, bringing back Stanton
yeah,
Warriors.
they left the kids
and-
with the grandparents that night. But it was good.
Yeah, that would be my favorite. It's hard to pick one, but that would be it. I don't know. Maybe it's an art to say. I'm really hard on myself, so there's probably, as much as I think we played a lot of good shows, there's only really 3 shows that I think have been just like,
Just right on spot, eh?
like, you know.
I think my favorite, like you know, Buck Wild festival set we've ever done together was probably the second year we did Mono together. So it would have been festival season 2010, and it was the first time.
From 10 to 12.
It was the first time Shane had like played in front of like the big festival crowd, like and but like you know we had played in front of plenty of crowds, but that was the first like you know like full on and like I was so excited for Shane because I remember that feeling type thing, and like we absolutely burned it because you know he's got like all this nervousness that he's focusing into his set thing, and I just you know every now and then I just like kind of you know. Give him a little bit of a, you got this, bro, and it just, you know, it was.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, I played in front of a couple 500 people before, but that set actually started off. It started at 10 o'clock on Saturday on the second stage, and there was about 6,500 people there. We had 2 hours, and about halfway through, almost the whole festival was there. We couldn't even see the end of it. That's the first time I've ever played over 500, and there was probably a couple thousand people there, and it was something else. Like, yeah.
I think that was the first time we realized, like, you know, like Buck Wild was really going, yeah, and like, you know, I was so excited to be a part of like getting Shane because just you know like the first time it's not just playing for big crowds or whatever. It's when you've got them in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
It's not about big or small even.
Yeah.
But when you really know you got them, you know, like
It's almost like a drug. I find. It's
oh, absolutely, yeah, and
Hypnotizing.
yeah.
Be my puppets, dance.
Dance monkeys dance.
Do you guys need more drinks there?
We'll work on
Yes.
it. We're close. I will tell you the exact minute to how me and Pete decided, or I knew me and Pete would end up spinning together. So it's like maybe 2001. It's at Shambhala.
Yeah.
We were with Mike Mills and like all that crew, right? And Nate C, yeah, and I'm camping right beside them, and me and Pete were we were more an acquaintances at that point.
But
We
we
were still friends, but anyway, so we were playing music at the camp. Everyone's playing, you know, Mills are drum and bass, Doc.
Everyone's taking that time. Everyone's taking that time. Yeah.
Right, and Pete grabs the CD and puts it in because it's his turn, and it's funny. because it's and it starts off with like this
It was
like
James Lavelle, Live at Cream,
Live at
Cream
Cream,
'96.
seriously.
Yeah.
And it starts off like with this like Street Fighter thing, right? And like Pete, I didn't even Pete's over there. I'm not even thinking about it. And it's like spinning star kick, yoga flame, yoga fire, up. I'm like sitting there mimicking it, and I look over, fucking like cross the cam. Pete's mimicking it too. I'm like, what the shit?
Yeah. But it's one of those really,
Yeah,
it's really one of those really complex little organizations where like literally.
Not anybody else would be doing
no,
this.
no, you have to like we listened to it and like every single move I could tell he knew it too, and like every tiny little stupid scratch in that whole mix. Me and Shays is like with the hands.
Yeah, so we're doing this, and
like-
everyone that's at this like at our camp.
No one else knew that
these are
mix, yeah.
music, like Mills knows his music, Doc knows his music, right? These guys know their music, and everyone's like, who who the fuck is this?
And why are you guys so into it?
James, yeah, it's like James Well, '96, and that album is one of the albums that I'm not saying it's like my fullest influence, but it's one of the albums that made me kind of be like, hey, this is kind of the direction I'm gonna go.
That mix is definitely one of the more influential, like DJ mix CDs I've like really changed my life, put me in a lot of different directions, and I still love that set. But it was just like every style of broken beat, from hip hop, trip hop, into jungle drum and bass, like Liquid, into acid breaks, into like by the end of the set, it's just
and on his own label too.
like
But yeah, so that's, and I remember I was like when like we like realized like how it affected both of us, and that was probably about the. I knew, I was like, you know what?
we both knew every word
That's
to
when
it.
I was
yeah.
like, okay, I'm gonna maybe start bringing Pete over and showing him that I spin, or showing him that and that's kind of, I think that's kind of
he was quiet about that.
The bond.
Yeah. Create rap music because I never dug disco.
I think that's kind of how it really is with everyone, though. Not everyone, but just because the DJ community in Calgary is really small. Like I've known, maybe not known you guys personally, but I've known of you guys for many years.
Yeah, no, you too as well.
Like I think Carly and myself actually we started around the same time.
When was that? Like
that was 2004ish.
You got to rephrase that a little bit. I wouldn't say the DJ community in Calgary is really small. I would say the DJ community of people who
the club communities.
Of people who are really love, and that like this is it's you get the people who get out of it what they put into it. It isn't there for any ulterior reason. That part of it's small.
Oh,
like the artist community part of it's small.
Well, it's a dog eat dog thing.
DJ world in Calgary is it's
absolutely, yeah, and we were just talking about this before, weren't we? About how, kind of there's a lot of people in Calgary where that kind of are working against each other. Whereas the community is not big enough for us to be holding each other back. I don't think, regardless of what side of the scene you're on, or what you're into, this or that. We should all be talking, man, like this. We should just
collaborating kind of community. But because, dude, the dance floor is big enough for everyone. There are enough dance floors for every artist.
And everybody
out there.
brings something different to the table.
Absolutely, and a good artist, I can really appreciate. Like I've never been really into, say, kind of like like new energy, hard trance kind of style. I don't dislike it at all. It was just it never really blew my fur back. But no, like I absolutely love it though when it's done properly. It's just that it was flooded. That's all.
That was my gateway drug to DJing was hard dance. Hard dance music is what got me started.
Yeah, I do like hard dance. I was just really pushed back then. I was really working hard to push the broken beat. So I just wasn't around it that much. But then you see like a good artist actually come through, and it's just like, oh, I get it. Like I got it all of a sudden. I was like, just because everyone was playing the like certain records, you see a good artist play. It could be fucking country. I don't know, but I'm not big on country. But I mean, I could sit in there and appreciate a really good artist if it was and be really entertained, even if I'm not digging the style.
Look like you got some thoughts.
Oh, I was iterating back to where you're saying, like, we need to start talking as a scene in Calgary, and promoters and DJs.
So you think more communication between everybody?
Well, no, it's. But do you remember back, like, when it was
the golden days,
Jaybird and the Godfellas and Goodfellas and you guys and Lucy and Us with the Frog Under the Table, the Enlighten. How that band from about what was it, about probably about 98 to about 2003,
Yeah,
right? And there's all
2003 or
those
4-ish.
huge riffs.
Yeah.
There no one was trying to go bring a headliner at the same time. Everyone was okay. You did this rave this weekend. You did this rave. You do this club.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Well, the
Like, and
promotion
that's-
companies, yeah,
They work. They didn't work together. They're always like trying to one up, but they didn't outdo.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
outdo,
yeah.
but it's like
And try and take another show
you
on
did
head to
this
head,
night, Callus.
you know?
Callus. You have Max Pell. You do this.
So why do you think why do you think it's like that now then?
I think that the end of the so-called, and people say it's a dirty word, and I don't think so because I'm a raver, but the so-called rave scene, when you could stop throwing those parties and it had to move into the clubs.
Yeah.
Well,
Clubs
yeah,
have
it
to
was-
fight to get people in,
It was
right?
when the bylaws completely stripped us of any chance of making, like, not only not making profit, but anything over 200-300 people when you need to get the actual license. It was like literally you're gonna lose money even if you
No matter
filled,
what, yeah.
filled an arena, you'd
No matter
still
what.
lose money.
And-
They just took too much of the piece of the pie, and
And
It was my first big and last show
You know,
there,
and
yeah.
the city's too small for how big electronic music is getting. I mean, back then, you had a select few, and we had like People Under the Stairs, us, Frog Under the Glass, and then
Well,
you had
Boudin, how long have they've been
they've
around
been.
for a
I
long
grew
time.
actually. I grew
Yeah.
up now. You had Boudang.
I used to play
but,
Boudang parties.
and then you had like Goodfellas, and then like John Delirious, and then Fever. But they all did
Fahrenheit,
They,
Tom G's
but,
Fahrenheit.
But they all did like a different thing, and it was what it was. So and they all kind of, they're not work together per se, but they didn't step on each other's toes.
Well, they talk to each other because there's no
Yeah.
point trying to go head to head with another big event because everyone's going to lose. Like even if there's only 100 people at this one, 1,000 people at this one, there's still 100. Those 100 people could be here. There's no point one person losing a shitload of money, the other person making a shitload.
That was the thing with raves when it moved to clubs. You got 5-6 clubs battling every Saturday, Friday night.
Well, and I think the fact that they shut down at 2:30 bar hours is what killed it, because I loved dancing till the sun came up.
Yeah.
Walking out looking like Beetlejuice. Water in some bed.
Yeah.
It's a shame we can't have that here because the rest of the world.
The after hours, like the end of the after hours in Calgary.
Once the warehouse went down, the
Really,
scene
yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, it's
Because
all
at
we
least
had.
you had the option, Like I mean, like some people don't really drink, so they don't really want to go to bars, regardless of how good the music is. They just don't like the bar scene, so
Yeah.
they could go and dance till 7 in the morning and drinking water or whatever blows your fur back. But I mean, that's their option, somewhere to go. Like it's
Do you think it's ironic that like while this was happening here, that's kind of when EDM started to actually take over in the mainstream? So it's like as EDM went into the clubs here, it actually went into the clubs here.
I think EDM took over the mainstream.
What's your thoughts on it though?
Some
Is it
of
good or
some
bad?
of it took over before, but
tell the
to where
truth.
it was way after the rave scene. It was definitely most of the club scene, but.
To tell you the truth, I think I mean, like regardless of like my opinion on EDM as a whole, like as a whole genre, I think like people get a bit too upset about the word kind of something being commercial because all that really means is it's reaching a wider demographic. More people are listening to it.
I think
Like,
exactly.
so I mean, as long as it's still good music, I mean, there's obviously like some of that mainstream electronic EDM, but that's like it's basically like a boy band with a drum beat.
Well, that kind of comes back to how I was talking about like hard dance being my gateway drug.
Yeah.
That was the first kind of music I was introduced to, and that's what I fell in love with.
Right.
But after a while, your taste grows.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So even though there's this commercial EDM wave, you're thinking it's taking away from the scene. If you're
No,
gonna think,
yeah.
if
I
anything,
don't
it's
think it
actually
is.
giving that
Yeah.
many more listeners.
Yeah.
Because eventually they're gonna grow. They're gonna want to hear something deep. Some are gonna want to hear some more broken
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So you're
I-
actually
I never-
providing that many more ears, I think, to the
Yeah,
future.
I- yeah.
audience.
Absolutely,
I
man.
never cuss anyone for throwing their hat on the table. Tiesto, Guetta, Deadmau5,
Dead Mouse is an interesting character.
he
though.
is, but what
Yeah.
people want to say that they're not this or not that. There's a reason why they got to where they are. They were and they are.
Fill the gap in the industry,
a reason why they you don't mock their skills. You might not agree with what they're doing, or
But
how they're
they're
going about
talented.
business right now, because maybe they're not showing all their talent, but there is a reason why they got to where they are. Do you know what I mean? Like, and,
Hey,
and don't knock that
Well,
shit.
it's hard work, man. The good old fashioned
Honestly,
way.
I look up. I've always looked up to all
I mean,
of them.
Getta. I
so-
mean,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
he,
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
Getta
Yeah.
really wants to mix, man, that
like you
guy
were saying-
will fucking destroy a lot of
Yeah.
people.
And like
you
you,
know?
was, like you were saying, there's a reason why they got as big as they are. It's because of like a level of raw talent, you know. Like, and a lot of people could hate on them because they bridged this gap into the mainstream. And again, for some people, mainstream is a dirty word, and like commercial is a negative thing. But hey,
Everyone's gonna benefit, and someone had
Yeah.
to jump on the grenade.
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
had
yeah,
to
yeah.
do it.
I think
If it wasn't him, it would've been
those
someone
guys
else.
definitely tried to make it in the mainstream. You know what I mean? They definitely tried to go get paid, and then maybe that's why people hate on them, because they tried to make those crossover albums. But then you got guys like Daft Punk, who every album they've had has crossed over, but it's not. They're never tried to make an album. They never tried to make a mainstream album. They're just so fucking good
they also
that it crossed over. That the masses love it, right?
Yeah.
they also like write music as like, you know, electronic to I think to people like Daft Punk was one tool in the box, because they both played instruments their whole lives, and like, you know, kind of, and that's
Well,
how
they were a
that's
punk
how I like
band,
to
right?
kind of,
Yeah,
they were actually a bad punk band apparently. Before they became Daft Punk, they got really bad
That's
like
how they got
That
their
reviews.
review,
name.
that's where the name
And
came
it
from.
sounded
yeah.
like a bunch of Daft Punk, so I was like, fuck it, let's change our name to Daft Punk.
But there's always been that saying, like their early stuff was very sample based off of old
Yeah.
disco.
Oh yeah.
Of
Like,
course,
you know.
and their new stuff is.
But in
know?
essence, that's all it is anyways. Like everybody's biting everybody, and that's, you know, there's creation, but you're just
is.
creating off of something somebody else has always already created.
yeah.
You know, like we're gonna reach a point where it's like almost everything's being done,
Every-
and now you gotta mash everything together to make it new again. You know,
Every good
Yeah.
artist not steals. Every good artist takes a little bit.
Yeah,
They
every
take
pioneer
from what
original.
they learn from someone.
Thanks.
what
Well,
they
and I
see.
think they should, because you should
course.
use the inspiration for the things that make you want to do it in the first place. But there is a difference between that and, you know, I am in no way against like you know, using stuff that has inspired you to make music. But same time too, at some level, I've always wanted to like on some level add to the pile of original music. You know, pick up an instrument. You don't have to be good at an instrument, because
But
you
just
can,
add that
because you
next
can record in
layer.
a studio, so you don't need to be like in a like actually a well practiced, but you know, kind of like jam, because that's the real creation part of it. And like
Yeah.
for me anyway, that's like I want to do eventually maybe try and add to music, if, you know, in some way, not just you know, rehash what people like have already made or something, you know. But although that's a big part of what I do, you know, is but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like on some level, like, one day I want to be able to do that for someone else. The next generation write something that they can, something original that they could be sampling, or you
Yeah.
know, like.
Well, even like with your edits, you know, you're still just making it that your own. You know, it's like you may hear the song, but you probably haven't heard it the way you're gonna hear it from me.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
yeah.
It's nice to just
exactly,
like
yeah,
add that
yeah,
little
yeah.
extra stamp on.
Sometimes it can be really, really something simple. Like, you know, you just get cut out a part that, you know, you don't like out of a record. Back in the vinyl days, there was a really good song. Then you ever see those records? Is one sound would come in for a short period of time that just was unacceptable. Like, it's such a good song, but then something would come in. It's just like, man, if I'm gonna play this on vinyl, you literally would need to somehow
carve it out.
no, somehow like do a bam like that, like put the needle over that part and then bang it back, like, or find some way. But it was unacceptable. These days you can just edit it out or swap the drops, or, you know,
Yeah.
it takes 10 seconds to
power.
cut and paste the.
Yeah. So there's almost no excuse now to not be doing.
Well, you know, like on some level or another. And like I said, you don't need to go to music theory school to like to pick up an instrument or bang out some drums on a hit pad, you know.
See, I've heard from several people, like I know friends who are like really far into music theory, and some who aren't, like myself.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I've heard from both sides that some say that having that full understanding of the musical theory, that formula they have almost hinders the creative process.
I can see that as well,
because you're
yeah.
kind of stuck to these guidelines. Whereas, you know, like my girlfriend can contest. I'm in here random hours of the night trying to find the notes, being
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, does that sound right? Yeah, you know, like,
Yeah.
trying to get it to match, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was kind of self-taught as well, and my brothers kept telling me, you know, go take a theory night class, because I would sit there and like to find the chord I wanted would just take me so fucking long sometimes. But by the time I would find it, bang, I'd know exactly how to do it again next time. But then eventually, you're like, yeah, I feel like that made me stronger of an artist when I did end up going to night school eventually. It helped me organize what I already knew. Like, you hear it's like, so that's C flat. Like, I knew how to make it. I knew what it sounded like, but yeah, it does.
You're manifesting your own, right?
Yeah.
Your own theory.
Yeah, but it does give you these. This is the way you're supposed to, like, you know, kind of write music and these chord progressions, and this is apparently how it has to be. And I can see that holding you back if you started off in theory before playing with it.
I wish I could remember the video game that played the Daft Punk track around the world. It was like Cruisin' USA. Did you ever play that?
Yeah, like the
car one?
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd always just be cruising to Daft Punk.
yeah, I'm looking for my jank though. There it is.
Yeah, Cruising USA. Remember Road Rash?
The game?
Yeah.
The video game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's
my
around that same
jam.
time, yeah.
Wow! Little Shane kicking him off the side of the bike.
Or Skate or Die.
Oh, that thing
With the pool
destroyed my
joust?
bank account as a kid, man. A quarter addict. Ting, 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 ting.
Hot bites-
Stupid bees!
I was a gauntlet junkie.
Oh,
Gauntlet.
Oh. When,
No, not that.
I was thinking
that-
Golden Axe. That's what I was thinking.
Sorry, that's what it is. It was Golden Axe, but the original, but Gauntlet, yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Was it Gauntlet for the Sega? Where it was like you
Yeah,
could be
but-
like the mage, the warrior. You know?
Yeah. No, that was the one. Yeah, Gauntlet. That it used to be before Sega though. It was like when, God, I used to go play that in old school video games when I was 10, 11.
Actually, well, you guys might remember this ad. It was like a 80s Sega, I think it was Sega, the first one they came out with, but it's a commercial for that. And my best friend from high school, Jordan Dobie, when he was a kid, he was in this big Sega commercial that made him, like, literally he still gets noticed. And he's, you know, like, he's all really into playing the game. He just turns over to the camera. He's like, Sega, yes! Like this one. And like, and seriously, it was so cheesy. And for pretty much as long as I knew him, he still was getting approached from people that say, are you the Sega yes kid? He's just like, this is ruining my life.
That would be way better than being like, hey, are you the hemorrhoids cream guy?
Yeah. Or the slap chop guy.
Oh.
ShamWow.
He's dead, isn't he?
No,
In jail
that
or
was
something?
the
OxyClean guy.
OxyClean
The
guy, yeah.
OxyClean guy kicked the OxyClean bucket.
Or like Bob Saget when he said he'd smoke. Or he
I don't think
sucked
he said he'd
crack-
smoke
he sucked
anything.
crackers to Africa.
Bob Saget, he's just genius because, you know what? He's dirty. He's always been dirty. He's funny. He's got a very twisted mind. But when Full House said, "Can you please play some clean shit?" and he's just like, "You're gonna pay me this many millions?" Yeah.
Well, yeah, they
A
made
home video, but you know what? You know, but it's not that.
I
he
guess I
just-
could
it's
not sweat for half an hour.
You know, it's not that he just did it. It's that he did the clean stuff right and proper. Like he was good at it too, and you could just tell, like, if you knew him, you're just like, yeah, you're faking it. But hey, you know, every once in a while when you're working comedian like guys like that, and you know, someone says be clean, we'll give you millions, do it.
But that's the perfect example of the contrast we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like the nicest, cleanest guy. Like I had no idea. I thought Bob Saget was like the loserest bit, you know?
Yeah,
Like I'm watching him on America's Funniest Home Videos, be like, I hate you. Your jokes are stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, yeah. And then you find out, you see a stand-up after, and I think it was Half Baked. That was the first time I realized. I'm like, oh my God, that's Bob Saget.
Oh yeah, he wasn't that, was he?
Well, that's the line when he's like, you know, he's like, marijuana is not addicted to marijuana. It's like, you ever suck dick for marijuana? It's like, no, I suck dick for cocaine. Cocaine. Yeah, that's attempt number 2 on this goddamn joke, and neither one of us can get it right.
Just doesn't want to come out right.
No. Somewhere Bob Saget's just getting pissed. Yeah. Hating on me, and you can't even get the fucking joke right.
He's wasting all his Full House money on crack.
I don't know if you could ever waste that Funny's home videos and Full House money.
Oh yeah, he's boy band rich.
I find like comedy it's starting to get bigger and bigger now too.
Stand-up comedy is
Yeah.
it's huge. Like stand-up comedians are like the new rock stars in like especially in
much.
Europe. They are like they're filling the hugest arenas, selling out every single night. But like, you know, like stand-up comedy it's never been this big ever.
No, back then it was like Bill Cosby, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy were the ones who had sold out. But you know
Well,
what's
yeah, but they
funny?
also got famous for doing movies and TV
but they were
shows,
the
whereas like stand-up comedy guys.
They
like,
were the ones who only ones who could sell out. Now a lot of them.
I
a lot
think-
of comedians. You know what's funny? Is
I think that's due to access though, because back then the only way to get noticed is you had to be really funny and be like on a late show, a Tonight Show, and then from there maybe you would get lucky and get the development deal at CBS or whatever, and then maybe get a show, and that's how you made it. And nowadays we got fucking YouTube, SoundCloud.
Yeah.
You know, you see a guy fucking panhandling on the corner of the street telling jokes. Next thing you know, the guy's got 1 million views. He's not homeless anymore, and he's the next rock star.
And there's actually celebrities finding people on YouTube now,
you
digging them up.
know who I think is. Well, I don't know if he's the last great, but he's one of the only comedians in this day and age that went through what Richard Pryor and Cosby and them. It's Kevin Hart. He did some shows, did a couple movies, and it sucked. And his career was pretty much done. And he went back to touring, and he did so well, and his show was so good. He is now the most selling comedian in the world, and it brought his career back.
he's got that
actually
TV
did
show,
that work.
the Real Husbands of Hollywood or whatever, and it's like it's basically about him. Yeah, it's
It's like a
just like.
spoof on.
Yeah, well,
Real
he kind of
Housewives,
makes fun
yeah.
of himself, but he just hangs out with like JP Smooth and what's his name? He did that Blurred Lines song.
Oh, the one where fucking Miley Cyrus and the dude.
No,
that
are you
what's his
talking
name?
about T.I.?
No, yeah, but no, who's the guy who did it? Like the main guy, the white guy.
Oh,
He's in it anyway, and he plays himself, and he's just
that goes to show how much
Robin Thicke. Robin Thicke.
That's who I was thinking of. Yeah,
But
no,
no,
okay.
is that yeah? So who's his dad?
Alan Thicke's his dad,
Thicke.
yeah.
Yeah, that shows how much that just came and gone. That's a great song, but we couldn't even remember it a year later. Who's that guy? His dad was famous.
I still have a hard time remembering half the songs in my collection.
Yeah.
It's just, since it's not like when you buy a record, you have that one, you play that one. It's a physical property, so you know that fucking thing.
Yeah.
You
Usually you spend $12 for like one track off the vinyl. Like I mean, very
the one
rarely.
you like, you like
very
it.
rarely you play both sides. So like really, you're paying that much for one song, and it's like it's heavy and it's hard to find.
That's why I can tell you anything about breaks when it was before Serato, and because you had to figure out those records. But now that Serato's coming, there's a lot of stuff that passes me with
It's digital media in general.
yeah, right.
isn't it?
Like there's like I remember and I figure out and I learn about certain artists are good, but there's so many that come and go
Oh,
and
for
come and
sure.
go.
I find because of that, like back when I used to buy records or when we used to buy records and play them, I was playing those records as a piece of music that it was.
Yeah.
Now I find that with the access, I can sit down, download 30, 40 new tunes. I see the tunes more as like a color to a canvas now. And I don't actually view the whole song. I view certain elements that I like, and I kind of try to combine those.
You're,
you know?
you're absolutely right.
So-
I'll buy a song for like one little thing that I want to re-edit, or or maybe not, but like
But that's
That's the
it's a
one.
double-edged sword to that, because in one essence I'm losing the whole vibe and feeling behind that song. Because if you wrote a song, the guy who wrote that song,
yeah.
everything in that song is supposed to be there for a reason. The
Yeah, no,
beginning,
you're
the
right.
middle, the end. So you kind of lose that whole story that I was telling.
Well, especially like with SoundCloud's popularity and like how many like unofficial remixes people do and like re-edits of like songs that some people may love. Like the original was, like you said, was written by by the real artist, and then it gets so watered down sometimes to the point where it's not like they're all crap remixes. They're just not. They're just looped. Someone looped like their favorite part out of something and then put a few like drum beats underneath. But
You know what I
you
find?
keep trying to find that version, like the original version or something, and before you know it, it's just that there's 100 remixes, and the only like you may like one, but you've downloaded 8 remixes of it, just to find that one on SoundCloud because they're all free and this and that. It's yappity yap, but like it's really about finding out the root artist, I think, and remembering the artist.
Before, when we were released mostly on vinyl and it wasn't so digital, they had to take their time, and there's a lot, most of the producers, especially with like breaks, house, whatever, they took their time. They were artists, and they really took the time to develop a whole track. Now with all this technology, being able to like pound it out on Ableton real quick and this is what separates the great artists that are coming up now to the ones that are just watered down, is a lot of them tracks are brilliant until that first breakdown and drop, and then they just kind of loop it, like, oh, boom, and then they push them out. We're great producers, like right now, like Sticky Buds and CMC Slantis still, and Slank, they still
Hotline Zero.
they still
I
take
love
their
those guys.
time to do that. But you're not getting that as much right now with all this being able
Well,
to.
it's all about whether or not you write songs or you organize sounds, and a lot of producers are really good at organizing sounds,
Produced
but
by
they're
numbers.
but they're at the whim of the sample packs and production kits that they buy, because they won't just take a little bit of time. It doesn't take that much to, like hammer something out. I love like I buy big production packs and like instrumentation packs,
Well,
but like some people wrote those loops that like the production packs. I'd rather be that guy.
Think of like like Pump DJs, like that Elastic Breaks records, or Staten Warriors, like their first one, like their first releases, and
Freestyler's first album.
Freestylers or
We Rock Hard.
Fresca All Stars, like how like what they were using, like there was no computer, like
Well, back then there was no drag and drop sequencing. Like I mean, the only computer based part of the electronic studio back in the hardware days was, Atari 520 STs running Cakewalk, and Cakewalk was the main sequencing program. But it's all like triggering this, like triggering MIDI messages to keyboards and drum machines. So basically, it was all numbers. Like you trigger this riff you've written on your keyboard at 69 beats. It starts until this number, and literally you had to think it out. You had to really pre-think exactly where you were going with it.
And they were building
nowadays you can reorganize. I love that about Ableton.
Yeah.
I do. And,
but they were
I can
making
jump
their
through
own
ideas,
sample packs.
10 ideas for something in 10 minutes sometimes, and erase 9 of them. But
Keeps the creativity going.
yeah.
Well, back then, they're making their own sound packs for their own thing. Everything was,
know,
and
back
there's a
then,
lot of
yeah.
sample packs, and don't get me wrong, but right now there's just a lot of people who pump it out. But there's still those true artists that use all these tools and still write music.
Well, I think it's an evolutionary thing, because like when you first start out, obviously the samples that's where you're going to be going, because you don't know how to create sounds.
We should always
But, so that's kind of where it starts, and then eventually you start to evolve into crafting.
Yeah,
and learning
it's
the
a learning curve. I
So it's a
think,
learning
that's
curve, but just the fact that it's so easy now with access to tutorials and information to be putting out, like studio quality ready professional sounding songs that the content's not really there because you're still only you're a year into it, 2 years, you don't really understand the whole mechanics behind it all.
There's so much information to learn.
It's
It's endless.
And misinformation too. Like online,
tons.
there's quite a lot of misinformation with people. Like they get told that these are the things on YouTube tutorials say you're like looking to start producing a specific style, and you go to someone's tutorial, and that's really what's going on in their head. And you should get this sausage, you should get this and that. But that's a conglomeration of, they probably went through a bunch of other sausages before they decided on that one personally.
Yeah, well, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
No doubt. But misinformation, I think, comes down to also, this is the way it's you have to write like this, or you have to use this instrument. Whereas it's really an infinity of options between how you use all this stuff together and what works.
Because when you start that way, it starts kind of that formulaic template. Zone, where it gives you an idea of how to go from there, and it's really easy. I could see you to get stuck into that, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, sometimes I can write my own shaker loops and this and that, but sometimes when the vibe's going and you're jamming on a bass line or something like that, I just throw in like a like just simple drum loop from someone else until I can finish jamming, and then I'll write my own one. But every now and then it's so nice to just drag and drop in a nice little percussion loop, so you can keep the back tempo going, or when you're writing riffs anyway.
As I'm saying this, is I'm a very sample based person, but it just
Samples are instruments.
They are. You just
Absolutely.
got to work them your own way, right? I'm not.
Turntables can be instruments if you use them properly.
But the whole formula thing you touched on, I mean, call it me, call it, I don't know, maybe just like the people that I had learned from, like Steve Rowland, Paradigm Theorem, like Scott Mills, Pete. You shouldn't have a set template. Like everything should just be. You should write what you feel or DJ how you feel.
With having those influences around you, do you find that you kind of have like an amalgamated style of those around you?
I would say I definitely have my own style. I do things a lot different than them, and I know they probably get some stuff off me, but I would say that the biggest thing that I'd learned is just that it's not having a template and just kind of like how you feel. There's no set way to do it. I was really set. I had a really set way of mixing, and then I started really playing with Pete, and then I'm having to follow him and like find him, and then that made me learn that, you can throw something on the 16 beat and only put it in for 5 beats or a breakdown. You don't have to hit that set. Mixes can be 3 minutes, but they can also be 32 beats, right? And just
sometimes
that
the best
whole
way to mix two songs together, like in my personal opinion, is just short, well timed, but you know your songs inside and out. So sometimes it's just like a real quick just bang over, like a bass swap. Then other times it can be a blend. But there's all these different tools in a DJ's box, and I find like so many people that they find what they prefer to use in that toolbox and completely end up forgetting about the other tools. Like you don't have to use a crossfader to DJ at all, but it is there. So why not sometimes use it? It's different. Some people say it works in their head, but don't forget about it just because you prefer to generally just blend and you don't use it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't ever.
I think the biggest thing I learned from him and Scott and people I hang out with is
proper spanking technique.
For sure. make that butt red like Gorbachev's head. Is that what it is?
You reach full extension 2 to 3 inches past the target.
If you're thinking of doing something and you do something and it's not working, don't pull it out and give up on it. Adapt to it and roll with it and change it, right? And that goes with there should be no set formula, right? You just let it flow.
But I find producers, around me that I know on a personal level, regard outside of music, like some of my best friends, like people like Steve Rowland. I mean, he's unbelievably genius at so many different aspects of what he does, but like knowing him like outside of that as well, I find when I listen to his productions, because the person on a personal level, I learn so much, although it's not stuff that I produce. The same with like Scott Mills. I mean, he's a technical genius, but like I don't really do glitch or that style myself as far as production. But I learned so much because when I'm listening to the stuff that he has written, I know that it's an accumulation of like his who he is, and as opposed to just jamming stuff till it sounds cool. Like those guys really, or some people really try and go with like an expose of their own actual personality. I mean.
Yeah, totally.
And that can really inspire me. I think is what I'm saying, regardless of whether or not I like the style or this or that. Man, I can learn a lot that way. Like try and see what they're seeing and what they do.
It's like a story being told.
Yeah.
One of those.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
The next Disney Pixar movie. The little DJ who could. I'd watch that shit.
I was down at the.
Any team can hop on.
I was down at the National Instrument Museum in Phoenix, and they took every continent, and you go in, and then it's like every country and there's like all the different instruments, and you walk up to it. There's like wireless headphones. You walk up and they play the instrument, and we were in there for hours. But I bought a book. It was a kid's book about an aspiring little DJ, and it was written by Kubert.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
he
cool.
made a half-hour mix. I gave it to Bacos, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
And
And it's actually written like as a kid's book. Like it's
Yeah,
written
it's
for
kids
children.
for kids. Yeah,
I gotta find this book.
And there's a half-hour mix, and if you play it and you start reading the book, and the mix goes with this children's book, and it's Kubert just scratching and doing this thing. It's great. I don't know how that story came up and why that even went there, but
That's a great
that's what I'm
story.
talking about.
Yeah. Huh. Things you know. Knowledge is power. I need a button.
Friends,
A lot of
friends helping
useless
friends.
information up here.
Friends helping friends is powerful stuff.
People helping people.
People helping people.
In to get you.
Okay, so what's up with SoundCloud? SoundCloud, Mixcloud.
SoundCloud. I'm constantly updating my own personal SoundCloud. This just search Pete Wilde on SoundCloud. But we have numerous pages, and there's for a lot of people who have been supporting me for a long time, come out to see my shows and stuff. I make originals and remixes just to give away for free on SoundCloud to the people who have make it happen, and then put a lot of work into those just because it's more about people who come out to, because I realize it's not always possible, especially the older we get, to like go out to every show, like represent, everywhere you would like to be type thing. But if people see you making a genuine effort, maybe they'll make a bit more of a genuine effort to support like the live show as opposed to.
I mean, you should give your SoundCloud, give your SoundCloud out, tell what it is. There's a lot of things like you just had to write up through the Ghetto Punk guys with your SoundCloud.
Yeah, we'll post that with the show notes. That'll be online at rumandbass.ca.
Woo!
Yeah.
You guys check that out.
There's
Thanks a lot for having us, guys. You guys really rule.
Oh yeah, no,
Pete-
thanks for
Pete-
coming over. This
Pete-
is great.
Pete has more music coming out on SoundCloud, and a lot of it for him is free because it is what it is, right? So,
We've also got a Buck Wilde DJs on SoundCloud, and that's generally it's just it's live festival mixes that we've recorded, and there's like a live on CJSW type mix. But me and Shane prefer to put out Buck Wilde mixes as all live recordings, except for once a year we put out a full-on studio kind of retrospective of the last years.
it was the favorite tracks out of say 7 big festivals. It's our favorite.
Then we retire
put
them
our
after that,
favorite tracks that we like that we played that year, and then
that we've been getting lots of use out of in the Buck Wild, and then after we do the compilation, we just retire those songs because they're too good to overplay.
Yeah.
Love them that much.
Yeah.
And then we got the Broken Monster SoundCloud.
Broken Monster Records.
Yeah, that's
Alright.
your record label. There with you and
Jay,
Yeah.
Zero Gravity, and Pete, and you, and it's well, no, I mean,
not so much me. No.
no, well,
Customers.
Yeah. What do you guys? So what's going on? What do you guys got coming in the
I
future?
mean, my thing with reason why I started that was all the talented people that I knew and my friends and then there's a lot of people that I knew needed to get a little bit more exposure and
people like Michelle C.
Michelle
you know,
C.
like
Scott, Pete, you. I mean, I was adamant when we first started it to get you and get a hold of you, and because
Oh, thank
you know
you.
it's just that's what
Touch
it
my
is.
heart.
It's a friend thing. It's just a fun little
Stop.
label we're trying to do, but what it is it's supposed to be a family. We're trying to make it a family, and you know, it's like every family, there's ups and downs,
it's already a
but that's what it's all about, right? It's about sharing and getting
Fam jams.
exposure and getting things out there.
Well, that's what the scene was. It's all about, man. You know, it's love, spreading the love.
Yeah.
Especially some old schoolers like us. It's not. There's a lot of not.
But we
that
can
going
only
on
be the
anymore.
change we want to see in the scene. We can't, you can't just go around talking about all the things we would like to see in the scene. It's just if we don't lead by example or at least try, then then
We're fucked.
well, screw it. Yeah, like
we're all fucked.
yeah,
point.
we're all
It'd be like
fucked.
those
Everyone's
old angry
fucked.
Muppet men on the Muppet Show in the corner bitching about like, I don't like it, me neither.
I bet those two guys are junglists. Jaded junglists.
I've never wanted to be someone that talked and talked and talked and never did. even with this whole record label thing, I was working on it for about 6 months, and I kind of told Pete, like, I'm thinking of this, but I kept it so close to my chest. I mean, Scott, Michelle, some of my best friends who are Matt Cain, like, none of them knew. And Pete, and then I text Pete one day, and I said, I incorporated, it's happening. But I even kept it from Pete, because you gotta.
Well, yeah, they had a lot of the business side of it, like basically all ready to go before really anyone had heard about it. Because otherwise, it's just everyone would to start a record label, and everyone's got good ideas.
Yeah.
But basically, starting a record label, I think would come down to until it's legal and you've got a few things in place, then there's not even any point mentioning it. I think you're a lot more powerful for it because
what I was getting at, showing by example, right? Not talk. It's like Kerry Chang. Yeah, he never ever said he wanted a club, but he always wanted a club. And he never told anyone, and he just went and did it.
Yeah,
he always wanted a record store before that. Yeah. He never told anyone. He just went and did it.
And it's small. It's a tiny micro club, and
it's that's my
and they don't have a big flashy sign up front. They just got the logo. Like a lot of people are just kind of like, "Where is Habitat?" Who haven't been there type thing, and they've walked by it a million times because he didn't want it to be the big flashy sign. Yeah. He wanted it to be a really really easy to get a kind of a vibe going on in there because it's only one room. It's a small room, but it's the way he wanted it to be, not this big money-making successful club-like thing. It's exactly the way he wishes he could have gone and played for clubs back in the day, like everything he wanted.
Kind of like what you guys started. It's self-sustaining. Yeah. It's paying his bills. It allows him to have a family. It's not making him rich by any means, but it's self-sustaining, and to him, that is successful.
Yeah. Well, no,
you know what I mean? That's what it's all about, man.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
That's exactly what
Chris,
it's about.
What do you listen to on your iPod these days?
What am I listening to? Oh man. Well, there's a lot of Prince.
Did we just become best friends?
Some Boy George.
Again?
No. Actually, what I was rocking just the past couple days was I was checking out your guys' Summer Girls mix.
Oh yeah, that's mine. That's mine. Yeah.
Oh, that was really good. I was enjoying that before you guys came over. Other than that, Max, little Maxi Boo. This is Max Syndrome's last drum and bass mix.
That's really good.
Yeah, I did listen.
I just heard that today.
I always thought Max was a quality DJ. Always. He can take any genre and mix it well. But
he's a versatile cat, man.
Yeah, but something clicked with that drum and bass mix.
Yeah, that was good.
Ridiculous.
It's colorful. It takes you somewhere.
Yeah, no, exactly. That was a story and a half in that one.
It's right up my path, so.
Right up your alley, Miss Kali. What else we got here?
We got some games.
We got some games.
Let's play. Who can take their pants off the fastest?
Winning. No.
I definitely would be probably the last in my onesie.
Challenge accepted.
Every time I go to the washroom, it's a challenge.
Okay. What's
Even though it's got a flap on the back.
Ooh.
What's your guilty pleasure song?
Oh, I've got one for you right now. Okay, it's
You know that one you just can't help if you're all by yourself. You're just rocking out.
I would say right now. I think it's Your Body by Tom Novy. I know it's a bit of an older song, but it's one of those ones I shouldn't like it as much as I do. It's fairly mainstreamish, but man, just watch this video, man. It's
good, eh?
Yeah, but it's all the wrong sounds in all the right places, yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to check that out. Shane?
Oh, I'm trying to think on who wrote it.
I'm pretty sure it's Call Me Maybe.
No. If I really tell you my guilty pleasure song, you know what song I'm digging right now, and you're gonna laugh, is that new "Shake It" by Taylor Swift.
Yo, that is a good song.
You know what else?
I
you know what else?
With that song.
I'm actually really digging that whole album.
Really?
She's changed for what she's doing, but the whole there's a lot of it that is just like, oh, it's Taylor Swift, and oh, it's that song, and the lyrics are, but from start to finish, the production quality and what they did, it's
it's
a great album.
I got nothing bad to say about Miss Swift.
You gotta listen to the whole thing, right? You know, with any music, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear that there was some sort of error, and iTunes like released a 3-second clip of complete white
It was
static.
just in Canada
Yeah,
too.
in Canada, and it topped the charts of the Canadian iTunes charts. It was 3 seconds of static from the new Taylor Swift album,
Do you know
and it
what?
topped the charts. It had the #1 spot.
That was before.
And it was called Song 3, and it was 3 seconds of static, just.
Yeah, and it only happened
Taylor
in
Swift's
iTunes
new
Canada.
song.
But check this out. Do you know that her album, when it was released, that the first week, it topped. It is the biggest selling album for the first week. Not ever, for the first week. It topped.
Oh, yeah,
That album topped. The Eminem was the biggest selling for that week, and it topped it. And like
This year, it will be the first year there's no platinums
Oh, really?
whatsoever.
Oh, they still giving, you mean?
No, they haven't sold enough like to go for first. You have to sell like 250,000 or don't quote me on
I
these.
think
I was reading
platinum
an
might be
article.
$1 million, I think.
I was reading an article that was
I think
saying
gold's
that
250, I think.
this Taylor Swift album might very well be the last platinum album
Ever, probably.
Ever,
I wouldn't
yeah.
doubt it, just because, the way music sales isn't the same. You don't go out, you don't buy a CD anymore. Taylor Swift is probably the last printed CD that'll ever get bought.
Hey man,
Other than, like Christmas specials, because 7-Eleven won't stop pumping those fuckers out.
you can't go buy Tower Records anymore. Would you want to buy Tower Records? No Sam's. The only reason why HMV even lasts is because they switched to movies and other things. But yeah, no, it's
HMV is just the next Blockbuster.
yeah, but they just switched to it. That's the only reason why they last. Every other music store's done.
I've actually got to outdo my guilty pleasure. You guys may not have heard this guy, but right now it's Kidnap Kids, Laxon by Kidnap Kid. Yeah, it's just technically one of the best produced tunes I've had in ages. But it's fairly fluffy, but like it's one of those tunes. It's just I might have to sell out and make a whole set of stuff like this just so I can play that song. Cause I don't know, yeah. Like maybe I'll make a psytrance album and call myself Bill Nye the Psytrance Guy, just so I can play my favorite psytrance song, just one.
I like that.
Just one.
I like that.
Science, bitches.
So what's up with SoundCloud?
Yeah, well,
You don't have trouble like taking down your mixes and your edits and stuff,
yeah, no. Well, to tell you the truth, I've always been fairly good at reading the small print in why to begin with, like what constitutes Creative Commons and these kind of things. But they are really cracking down on
Big time.
Yeah, but there's a few kind of tips and tricks that I'm not just gonna throw out there live like right now over the air, but. If you do
For that, log on to www.beatwildesecrettips.com.
Well, no, there's a few little naughty little cheats where like they won't, notification that it's not going to post it for you, like the copyright notification from mixes. There's, start your mix off with a little, make a little 10-30 second intro. Just never start with like a popular track. It's good. Like.
Do you think is that how it works?
Well,
then,
no,
or?
no, that's not how it works.
I'm sure there's like a crazy algorithm.
Yeah, right now they've just made some big decision to start kind of like really cracking down on copyright infringements and like people posting like re-edits for download. Like you can post for stream if it's a remix or a re-edit of something popular. But like if you can't just put it out there for free, because if it's close to the original.
I was gonna do a Pretty Fly for a White Guy remix, man. I thought that would be fun.
Any Offspring would be dope. Yeah.
What? Yeah, Mike's on. Yeah,
I'll tell you a cool story about some cheesy ass songs. So there's this old club in I think it was on 8th, Stevens Ave. I can't remember the full name of it, but it had the big blue E. This is like 2000, 2001. This big blue E, and it was like X to something. Don't care, but you went downstairs, and like, I don't know if you remember this club, but you went downstairs, and
Bermuda Triangle.
No, it was Big Blue E.
No, is that...
You went downstairs, and like, they tried to keep like the bar one side, there's in the back, you walk down the stairs, and then there's like the bar, and there's one side was like kind of like a water theme, the other side was like a fire theme. Then you stepped off, and then there's a dance floor. And there's whatever, they had a couple good shows. But anyways, they brought Boy George in. And I was just when he was like really kind of taking off with his house DJ career, and
Boy George had a house DJ career.
oh for sure.
Are we
he
talking
still
the same
does.
Boy
Oh,
George?
same
Yeah.
Boy. He still
Like, we're
does,
talking-
man. Google
No
that
way.
shit. It's
No
really deep,
fucking
really
way.
deep, deep. Not so much anymore, but he went into that. He's producing a little bit, but mostly it was like a name, go DJ.
I gotta hear this shit.
Not the most like I would say not the most creative DJ in the world, but definitely technically you could get the mix in, You know what I mean? Like it was definitely I enjoyed, and he was playing really deep house, but.
So his production's better than his. DJing,
No,
is that what you're saying?
he wasn't really for that house stuff. I don't know if he really does a whole lot of production with it. I think he had his money, became a DJ, decided to do DJ, got really into deep house, and he was good. Didn't fuck up, didn't train wreck. Fairly technical. He had a couple productions, not really all that great, but it was like a novelty thing in like 2000 through 2003.
Huh. Boy George.
Yeah. Anyway, so. We're there, and our buddy, he owns Foosh. He was tryptamine. He opened up from Edmonton. But anyways, I'm sitting there, and we come downstairs, and there's a step in the dance floor. And I'm, kind of happy, drunk. Knew it was Boy George. Now, I'm an 80s freak. Like I just love that sound.
Super
Don't tell me
freaky.
why. The whole Boy George thing was cheesy, like come chameleon.
That is a fucking classic.
But it's a classic.
I got so serious.
This
But check this out.
tread lightly, sir.
We listen to me. When it's coming out of that whole punk rock 70s thing, and he was a kind of a punk rocker, he kind of took a twist on that album, very clever, very well written, very love it, like it is, and a lot of people say it's cheesy. I don't think so. It's clever. So, anyways, Star Wipe. Back to this club. He's playing. I'm like, kind of half drunk, kind of dancing. So I see there. I gotta step back. Boom! My head hits what feels like some dude's like half stomach, half chest. I turn around. Boy George.
Motherfucking
Oh,
Boy
what?
George.
I'm 5'11". Like that's like dude's like 6'5", And I look at him and he looks at me. To my reply, come. I started doing that dance to him going, yes, let's drink. And he's just like, and I was like, and then we were talking about it, and he tells me, he goes, I can't believe you hit that. And I was like, well, that's kind of funny. He goes, because you would have been like, a baby when that happened. Like, yeah, I like good music. He goes, really? And he goes, a lot of people don't think that's good music. I'm like, yeah, a lot of people think it's cheesy, but it's clever as hell. And we had a good conversation. He's just like, thank you. He actually said thank you for noticing that, the work and the clever. Anything after that, really? The whole crying game one, where he lost me when he did the crying game. That's where that guy lost me. But
And I'm out.
Check, please.
That was good. That was a good
That was a
story.
good story.
I like that one.
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming in.
Hey, thanks a lot for having us, guys.
Yeah, no, it was
thank you.
it's been great. I can't believe that. It completely flew right by. Wow.
Yeah, it really did. Hey, yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, that was fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what happens when you get
Yeah.
good people
And
friends
good rum.
together.
Yeah.
People helping people.
You guys
Well, I
got
feel
any?
like I got to know you a lot better than I ever did before.
Yeah,
so
definitely. You guys
all
got
those
any?
random meetings?
Yeah. Good times always, but yeah, like they come and go fairly fast. And
Yeah.
when club run-ins, sometimes
Yeah.
we're all busy people. Yeah.
All right. You guys got any future projects, shout outs, any upcoming news you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I've
Something to
actually.
keep an eye for?
I did want to shout out to Skylab Records from Winnipeg. They're they've been doing very well. Canadian techno label, and they're branching out. Saskatoon, sorry, yeah. Skylab
I know he's from
Saskatoon.
Winnipeg, but he lives in Saskatoon.
I have a release coming out on their label later this year or early next year, and it's going to be funky garage kind of a project. And then
Cool.
they're really really up and coming Canadian label, and then also Broken Monster Records. These guys, I've got an EP coming out next February for them.
Nice.
It's going to be. I'm working on it really hard the last couple of months already, and
Excited?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Cool.
I got, yeah? Good. So the project I'm working on with Broken Monster with Planet, Babe, is a trip hop album. We're going to feature all of our Broken Monster artists on it. And it's kind of like in the thing of Jay Dilla. We're going to try to kind of go with that as a big inspiration. So yeah, that's just what I'm working on. Yeah, so it's just we're just wanting to just do a trip hop, an old school trip hop album, like the best we could. Just try to complement like a James Lavelle, Old Shadow, Cut Chemist. It's kind of where we're going to Euclid. It's kind of like where we want to go with it. So yeah, we're gonna use every arsenal we have with Broken Monster, and then like have everyone kind of do a track and get on it. And
Nice.
It's gonna be a year long, so.
So yeah,
That's
I guess if you guys want to keep up with the news and what's new with us separately and Broken Monster Records, just go to Pete Wild on SoundCloud. There's Big Delicious at SoundCloud.
Buck Wild
Broken
DJs
Monster on
is-
SoundCloud.
Yeah, I'll have all those links posted.
Cool,
Broken
cool.
Monster on
Yeah,
Facebook
yeah, always
and
putting up new-
BrokenMonsterRecords.com. Right now it's just the coming soon part of it, but just because where
'Cause
we're
it's coming
going with
soon.
this where we're going with this website, it's taken us months because we're gonna be able to do everything from like live stream to podcast to selling. And
exciting.
that takes
Cool. Yeah,
takes a
yeah.
while to build, right?
Yeah, no
but
worries.
anyways, that's
Cool.
gonna be up in about probably about another month and a half. It's taking about 4 months to build, but yeah, you can go to that and so yeah.
All right. Well, once again, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Cool, thanks.
It
Yeah,
was,
thank you guys.
it
Cheers.
was awesome. Yeah. Okay. Well, until next time.
Till next time.
Yeah. Keep it real.
Yes.
Respect.
All right, ladies and gents, that wraps up another episode of the Rum Bass Show. I want to give a big thank you for stopping by and joining us. Make sure you guys check out the website for show notes, guest mixes, and competitions. That's www.rumandbass.ca. Make sure you guys stop by and stay tuned as Buck Wilde's drops her exclusive mix. That's going to be coming at you guys next week as we also get back into the studio and sit down with the man of mischief himself, the one and only Matt Wiggins. Now keep it locked, live loud, and play it proud. Peace out, guys.